this is Scorpio Books, and I am your host, Amber Cheyenne. On this channel, we'll be going over tropes that are found within books and movies, along with mythology, world history, religions from multiple different cultures, as well as pollution, and we'll be playing some awesome games on the channel, with a couple of guest hosts I will have later on, as well as going over characters that are within the books, the creatures that I mentioned within them, along with a couple little kid series that I've been working on, but those won't be mentioned too much because the other book series are for more advanced age groups. Today, I'll go through and pull names out of this hat, out of this cup, and introduce each one that I pull out of here. So, I'm going to mix it up and then I'll start drawing names. Alright. First up is Agony. Now, I can't say too much about his character without spoiling the book. But he shows up closer in the end and basically takes in Blake and takes care of him until they get back to the rest of the rebellion. Next up, we have Officer Joe. He is Asher's dad. Now, basically, he is the one who you get to meet within Chapter 1, and it introduces his character a lot, but I can't say too much without spoiling it. So I'm going to move on to the next character. Alright. Next up is Charles, one of the two people that worked with Leno when Russia and Germany take over the U.S. They are in charge of helping. Spoiler alert, it is his resources to help create the exnovirus. On to the next. Alright. Ruby. She is a little girl that is found at the end of the book that Blake sees the need to protect and take care of. She shows up about the same time as Agony does. On to the next. President Carson. This is our main protagonist, along with her brother's dad. He is the one who is stuck dealing with everything when World War III is on the brink of happening, along with the U.S. is on the brink of another civil war. Can't say much more, otherwise I will spoil the book. Next up, we have Officer William, who is Oscar's uncle. Now, I can't say too much about him, otherwise we'll definitely leave some spoilers. So, we're moving on to the next character. Calder. He is another character that shows up about the end of the book when Blake meets Ruby and Agony. Can't say too much or it will be spoiled. I know, there's a lot of spoilers alert. I'm going to do my best not to spoil any. Alright. Hiccup. Hiccup is not a person. Hiccup's actually a dog that hangs out that you can find around Cassie throughout the book, closer to the middle. But Hiccup is Cassie's loyal companion. I am going to go ahead and move on to the next character now. Next up, we have Robert, Oscar's dad. He, you can say, runs something like the Underground Railroad during the book. He is also a private school teacher and the husband to Dr. Smith. Dr. Juno Smith, to be exact. on to the next. Ace. Ace is a marksman along with a medic. You can call her a wild card for the rebellion. She can either A, shoot you, or B, patch you up and make sure you don't die. Take a pick. Alvin. Not going to say too much about him, but he shows up in the same chapter as Calder and Agony, along with Ruby. He is one of them that actually helped Blake get back to the rebellion, but not saying any more than that. Next up, we have Mrs. Queens, or as my siblings that have actually got a sneak peek at the book call her, the Evil Librarian. Basically, she's in charge of an academy that brainwashes the kids for the war states, creating mindless, obedient soldiers that have no clue how to say yes or no, that have no clue how to say no. They obey every order they're given without any argument. Next up, we have Red. This is another canine in the book. This is a red healer mixed with a wolf. Pretty decent sized dog. This hangs around the main character, Rocky. Alright, next up is Asher. Asher is one of Oscar's friends. He is a touch bit paranoid, but as you read the book, you kind of get the feeling he is pretty paranoid about everything. Can't say much more. Oscar, the other protagonist, aka Odysseus. He takes his father's place in the book. Sorry, spoilers alert, my bad. But basically, he takes over and takes the spot in leading 1 out of 6 groups in the rebellion. Now, the 6th group in the rebellion isn't mentioned a whole lot because it was the second hunt. I'm gonna stop there. On to the next character. We have Dr. Juno. In the first half of the book, she was creating a super cure. The super cure was going to cure cancer along with all other viruses, but things went south when she found out her super cure was actually being used to help create a virus to eliminate a good portion of the population. Now, as I already said, that was Lena and Charles doing. So, Lena goes to pull the plug, and little does she know, she winds up starting World War III, along with the break of a civil war for the U.S. So in trying to save the country, and to save the world from the virus, and to expose the corruption that is within the White House, things went south. So, on to the next. Noel. Well, Noel. He is a fighter from the pits. He shows up at the end of the book. Can't say too much, but he shows up at the end of the book and joins the fight, then to help take the U.S. back from the war states, or as the government calls it at the time, the GR states. Next up, we have Vice President Leno. This should be the definition of psychopathic lunatic. She is the one who creates the virus and started Mrs. Queen's Academy, along with taking a couple other steps to ensure that she has absolute power over everything. Things don't go her way, you're going to know it, because you're more than likely the one who she's going to blame. She is another psycho. And the main villain of the book. Up next, we have Joseph. One of Oscar's friends who transfers from a private school into the public school system. And helps basically run the rebellion and keep everything running smoothly from Odysseus's half. Well, Odysseus's group anyways. Seems that the rebellion was split up into 6 parts to take multiple different parts of the U.S. until they can gain enough support and members to take on the war states themselves. On to the next. Exterminator. He is found in the pits when Rocky is first introduced. He was the one that was fighting with Rocky there. He became 1 out of 6 of the leaders of the rebellion. Basically, he was in charge of a hunting party. After he joined up with the rebellion, his hunting party became the 5th group of the rebellion. On to the next one. Up next, we have Fiesta, who is Calder and Agony's brother. Well, they're sister anyways. They're her brothers. Basically, she winds up helping Blake return to the rebellion as well. Can't say too much about the end of the book or anything else aside from small itty-bitty details. Luke is actually a 10-year-old boy in the book that Blaze chooses to rescue, and they take into the rebellion, and he helps take back the U.S. Casimir. He is the other one that works with Leno to take the U.S. Who turned it into the GR states, also known to the rebellion as the War States. Then you have Blake, Cassie's brother. He is an amazing hacker in the book. Basically, you give him a computer and give him a couple minutes, and he'll have any government system hacked in here. Which plays out to their favor, as you can imagine. But he gets stuck living with Commander Kobe for a little bit in the book. And at the embassy. Not going to say which one, or anything along those lines. Blaze. Blaze is an amazing fighter in the book, and has a tad bit of medical skills, but not a lot. Just enough to make sure you don't actually die. She is one of the members in Cassie's group of the rebellion. Alright. Oh, we got Cassie. She is the main protagonist in the book, and without her, there would not have been a rebellion. So, as you can figure, she is the main character and can kick some major ass. She is an expert in archery, along with sword fighting and hand-to-hand combat. And she will always have their back. Then we have Patient Zero. She is the only surviving person from the Exnovirus experiments within the book. Therefore, their plan is to use her to start up the outbreak of the Exnovirus. There's not much mention of her at all. Sorry, dropped it. Next, we have Rocky, who is Cassie's right-hand man. Basically, he backs her on almost all the plays, but as you read the book, you'll see that they butt heads a lot in the book on how to handle a situation. Where Cassie wants to go about, say someone gets captured. Cassie wants the best possible way with the least amount of casualties. Rocky's jump into the fight now and take out any possible threats. Kobe. He is the one who Blake was stuck with for a little bit throughout the book. He is one of their biggest threats when it comes to the field. He helped Lena and them take over, and is one of 3 people that stand below Lena, and her 2 people. The 2 people that stand below her. And Mrs. Queens and Officer William are who maintain the order. Or, in otherwise, the militia that they have started. Complete and utter chaos to take over the U.S. Those 3 keep order. That way, nobody overthrows them. Alright. Yash. He is Okra, aka Cassie, Navigator. Basically, if they need to find the quickest way, he'll pull out a map and he'll look over it and find the best possible routes that avoid the war states, troops, and guards. He also is capable of tracking any animal print. That way they can find food and water quickly with little to no problem. Hang on. Burkjet. Not going to say much about his character, because he's not really mentioned a whole lot. So, on to the next. Chief. He shows up at the same time Noel does. At the end of the book, Cassie and Rocky run into him when they are back in the pits. From there, I can't say much, because it will spoil the book. Alexander Smith. Now, can't say too much, otherwise I will definitely spoil the book. Because he shows up after Cassie and them's mom had died before the book had started and helped President Carson raise them. But he hides a pretty big secret from most of them. He can't really hide it from Blake, who has the capability of hacking the computer. So, Delilah. Commander Kobe's daughter and the best fighter on Germany's behalf in the book. Not going to say too much, because her character does play a pretty decent part in the book. Rosetta, aka Ziggy. One of the other leaders in the book. She is one of 6 of the leaders she takes over and keeps people safe while Cassie brings them into the camps until they can find a safe way to get the people to safety. With little to no conflict with the war states. Along with, I forgot to mention, the 4th group, which shows up later on, is actually Simon, aka Saturn. Again, can't say too much or I will spoil it. But that is all the characters, and that's all the time we have today. So feel free to hit the subscribe button and put a thumbs up if you liked it. See you next time.